everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Carlene plus your boy Jamie.
Hey, y'all.
We are so excited and delighted that you decided to rock with us tonight, today, tomorrow, whenever you are watching or listening to this podcast episode. And I know that we've been on a hiatus for a little bit, and now we're back, ready to go, consistent, coming out with the content. But here's the caveat. You can't get the content unless you like and subscribe to our show. So our analytics have shown us that about 80% of you that are watching us right now that have clicked on the thumbnail, that you are not a subscriber. And we're asking, would you please subscribe?
Please.
Because we are putting in work to put out some good content to help those in the messy middle, because that's who we are. We are your counselors for the messy middle. If you stick around with us long enough, you'll be able to understand what we mean by the messy middle. But all you got to do is like, subscribe, and join in, and also share it with your family and friends. So, Carlene, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Just happy to be back and ready to tackle this conversation on for tonight. So you ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right. So let me ask y'all a question. Have you ever been in a relationship where you are very clear about, or at least in your head, about how you want to be loved, but the person you married is out here loving you in a completely different language? Like, it's Valentine's Day. Everyone knows tomorrow is Valentine's Day. And you're thinking flowers, intentions, efforts, romance. He's thinking we're married. So isn't that enough? And now you're standing there smiling, saying, thank you. And while your inner voice is screaming, who did I marry? Because the truth is, he did do something, right? It wasn't just your something. And so here's the real tension. He thinks he showed up. You feel overlooked. Nobody's trying to be hurtful, but somebody is definitely hurt. So the question becomes, is he inconsiderate? Or did I never actually communicate what celebration looks like to me? Because loving someone isn't just about intention, it's about translation. And today we are talking about what happens when expectations stay unspoken, assumptions get loud, and Valentine's Day become another annual reminder that love without clarity can still miss the mark. So let's talk about it honestly, because somebody somewhere married someone amazing. They just forgot to give them the instructions on how it is that they want to be loved and how they want to be celebrated, especially during those very important holidays like Valentine's Day.
Anniversaries,
birthdays, right?
Right.
Christmas, all of those things that happens. If you are not clear about what or how you want to be celebrated, then unfortunately, you're going to have those unmet those expectations that you have unmet.
That's right. Because love without clarity misses the mark.
Completely. And when we talk about missing the mark without that clarity, I know sometimes for some women, let me just talk about me.
Talk about me. Talk your talk.
Right. Let me talk about me, because I'm not going to try to generalize anything. Sometimes, especially at the beginning of our marriage, I would heavily depend on assumptions, right? I would assume that Jamie would understand me enough to know what it is that I want. And I am also bombarded by pictures. I'm bombarded by images of what love is supposed to look like, how you're supposed to be celebrated. Balloons. Like, I remember growing up in New York City in high school, like on Valentine's Day or around the holiday or around that time, like the girls would get the balloons and the bears and the chocolate and the candy, right? And so those kind of images, it's almost like he's probably seen the images too. So he should expect for the he should know exactly how to celebrate a woman on Valentine's Day.
You know what? This is interesting. And I'm vice versa, right? I think you should know how I want to be celebrated. And I'm getting all my cues from the same thing too. So I almost feel like I know what women want. Women want gifts, women want bags, women want to go out to dinner and, that kind of stuff. What's funny is my parents got divorced when I was about 12 years old. I don't think in those 12 years I've ever seen my father celebrate my mother.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know, I don't think I've ever seen him bring home flowers,
Mm-hmm.
or I don't even know what they did on birthdays for each other. So I don't even know what that looks like
Mm-hmm.
in a healthy relationship of celebrating your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So there were no cues for me to say, "Oh, I remember my dad did this."
Yeah.
Or my dad would do that, or my mom would do this. So,
Mhm.
you I think I came into the marriage just assuming that I knew your love language or how you wanted to be celebrated, because I never asked. And I don't think did you yes, you did tell me.
I think I told you like years after understanding, because okay, so let's back up a little bit.
You
Let's back
told
up a
me.
little
I'm
bit.
gonna remind you. You told me.
Okay, yes, but let's back up a little bit. When we were dating, Valentine's Day wasn't a thing for us. Like we celebrated our birthdays. I don't remember Christmas really us celebrating, but I do remember specifically on Valentine's Day, like it would never be a thing. Like I wouldn't make a fuss about you not. When we first
You want to tell them why?
Tell us why.
Because we grew up in a very conservative
Oh,
church that taught us that
oh, that's
Valentine's Day
true.
was evil, and that it was about
How could I miss that?
Cupid taking people's hearts and is demonic and all of that stuff. So we have
It's
been
true.
embedded and
It's true.
indoctrinated in a church that said Valentine's Day is pagan. Do not acknowledge it.
Very true.
Don't even celebrate. So
You're
we're
right.
rooted in that.
Correct.
We
That
come from
is
that tradition.
That's a really excellent point.
Right.
And thank you for bringing that out, because for both of us, when we met, we were super, I don't want to say spiritual, because I think sometimes we mix spiritual with being so heavily indoctrinated by our denomination.
I had on a
right?
helmet of salvation,
Right.
the breastplate of righteousness.
Yes. And so for us, we were just like, yeah, we don't want to subscribe to that, right? Love should be celebrated every single day. It shouldn't look like how it's celebrated on TV or on wherever, like in the
Soap
stores.
operas,
Exactly.
all of that stuff,
And-
videos.
exactly. And so we decided that that would not be something that we would celebrate. But that change or that shifted for me, of course, because I started realizing that it's okay to celebrate each other on Valentine's Day, because it's beautiful to acknowledge, just like it's beautiful to acknowledge Christmas, or we know that that's not the day that Jesus was born, but it's just something beautiful to acknowledge and to celebrate in our own way. And so that's why that's from then I started kind of like slowly asking, telling Jamie like, hey, I think I want us to do something for Valentine's Day this year. And so, but it was never, I don't think I've ever burdened you with you have to, but I do remember moments of feeling, I wish he would, without me having to initiate or without me having to say that I want to be celebrated in this way.
Right. So can I call you out right now?
It depends.
Can I call you out? Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
you
Let
can
me
call
tell
me
y'all
out.
something, internet world. When we first started dating, I wanted to celebrate Carlene and I wanted to buy her clothes.
Oh,
Like I wanted to buy her because I was thought, that's what you do. You
Oh.
buy your girl something to wear. She wears it. You be like, yo, I bought that for my girl. Carlene straight up told me, I don't want clothes. I don't like clothes. Right. So I went and bought this she likes things like trinket kind of things. So I learned that I don't buy
and
you
that was for my
clothes.
birthday. That box you bought for my birthday.
Well, I think that was for your birthday. But I think what I'm going back to is
Oh,
just
okay.
learning that you told me how you like to be celebrated. You said you don't like clothes.
Yeah.
So I never bought you clothes for anything. And then the other time when we were married, you remember I bought you a KitchenAid.
But that was different.
And
It wasn't for Valentine's Day. That was for Christmas.
Well, we talking about gifts. I think we're talking about gifts and buying you gifts, like for Valentine's Day. My assumptions were always that you liked things, and no matter if it was Valentine's Day, if it was Christmas or whatever. And so I take that, what you tell me, as the cues for how you like to be celebrated on any holiday. Like
Okay.
Valentine's Day, don't buy you no clothes. Valentine's Day or your birthday, don't buy clothes or don't buy home appliances or anything like that, because you expressed to me that's not your love language or how you want to be celebrated. So I'm using that to just define that I've learned about your ways and what you like, because you're very good at communicating how you want to be celebrated. But I think you've gotten better now in regard to being more specific. So you would, and I think sometimes this happens in relationships, that you'll communicate how you don't want to be celebrated, but you sometimes, like back then, you didn't tell me how you wanted to be celebrated. So I would have to try to still figure it out by studying you. Yeah. So it does mess up. Communication without clarity can mess up expectations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And I think that throughout the years that those expectations have shifted, and I think I've been a lot more graceful and a lot more graceful with understanding that it is impossible for you to read my mind, for you to, dream up what it is that I want to do or how I want to be celebrated. And so, to our audience, I think if you've ever experienced moments in your marriage where you're like, I, I, I don't feel like I should have to say anything, or I don't have to be completely specific. Like, I want an element of surprise. I want an element of you were thoughtful in your approach to, you know, to your approach to gift giving, right? Not just me always having to spell it out directly. And I think it goes back to the question I asked in the beginning, like, who did I marry? Like that frustration of like, who in the world did I marry? Did I marry someone who takes initiative? Did I marry someone who goes the extra mile? Did I marry someone who um who can, I could just say one thing and they know exactly what else to give? Or did I marry someone who is completely clueless? Like, they have the furthest idea of how to celebrate you. I remember my coworker, at some point in time, her husband bought her a gift for Christmas. She was so thankful for her gift. However, her husband, she was thankful for the thought, right? But at the same time, what he gave her wasn't very thoughtful. It was just a gift wrapped beautifully, but it wasn't something that was meaningful to her, that spoke to who she is and what she would really appreciate. And so there are moments when you're like, for real, that acknowledgement of, did I marry the fantasy of someone that will automatically know exactly what I want when I want, or did I marry the reality of someone who has no clue, and they literally need everything to be spelled out? And so I know that balance that Jamie and I had to go through of figuring out, like, okay, I would like this, but I do want for you to take some ownership of I don't know, I guess the element of surprise, the element of like, I am being intentional about celebrating you, right? It's almost like you have an outline, you have a framework, but you can do a whole lot more, be a bit more creative, be a bit more intentional.
Yeah, and that's like what we talk about with the messy middle, right? Because you get to a place where if you're not communicating, and I'm just going to speak for myself, like from a male perspective, my male perspective, if I'm trying to please you and buy you gifts and I keep striking out, eventually I'm probably going to feel like giving up, right? I'm going to just be like, I ain't going to do nothing. But if you can help me and to say, look, that was like affirm me and saying, hey, I see what you were trying to do. I appreciate that. But I would have liked it this way. And not hold an attitude. Like, not hold an attitude like, he don't know me. He not even trying. Like, if you see that your spouse and it could be man or woman, that they're trying to do their best, affirm them, but also let them know, like, hey, this would have been, because when you said he gave the gift, but without the thought, it can be the perfect gift, but if there's no thought behind it, it becomes the worst gift, right?
Yeah.
And then what can be a learning moment, a teaching moment, a growing moment, could, if it's not done maturely or handled correctly, it can grow into a bad moment. That's not the word I wanted to use, but you understand what I mean. So I think it's so key in everything, particularly too with knowing how to be celebrated, to communicate, and vice versa for men as well. Like, I really need to be more expressive in telling you how I want to be celebrated instead of just saying I don't want nothing.
Yeah.
Because deep down inside, a
You do
brother
want-
wants something. It's
Say that
something.
again. That is so true.
He may be scared to say what he wants.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. But he does want something. So, but you should be so open in your relationship that you can say whatever you want and not feel embarrassed for asking for it. And then also to not feeling not having to deal with that rejection for not getting what you want. Yeah.
And I think we all experience that, what you just expressed. Like, you want to say it, but you sometimes don't want to feel like you're being too much, like you're asking for too much, right? But I do think that it is really, really important to communicate what those needs are, communicate how you want to be celebrated, and be as specific as possible. And also communicate to say, hey, I am trying to be as specific as possible, but I do want an element of intentionality. Like, I try to really find something. I really went the extra mile to let you know that it isn't just about copy paste. Look, I got, and some women will be okay with that. Like, I'm going to give you my list. And I'm gonna, when I open up my gifts, I'm gonna act like I'm surprised, like like I didn't know that I was receiving these items. But that is essentially what we would like to share with you all today. Like, communicate what it is that you want during the holidays, during the special days, Valentine's Day, how you want to be celebrated, whether it's gifts, whether it's going out, whether it's a romantic getaway, or whatever it is. I think it's just so healthy to sit down and communicate that together, so that you don't sit in resentment, you don't sit angry every Valentine's Day saying like, oh man, my homegirl over there is getting celebrated in such a beautiful way, and I'm over here like, yay, thank you, you know. And so that is what we would like to leave with you tonight.
Yeah, and to my brothers out there, this closing remark is for you, that sometimes it's a fine line between buying what you want her to have versus buying what she wants. And I think sometimes we run into like, I want you to have this expensive thing or that jewelry, and sometimes your wife is just asking for you. So communicate, create the list, celebrate, and appreciate each other on this Valentine's Day.
We thank you yet again for watching. Your mentors for the messy middle. We're glad that you joined. Go ahead and subscribe to our channel for even more content like this. We have some amazing topics coming up with some amazing guests in our queue for this season of Carlene plus Jaime. Thank you so much again for joining us. This is your girl, Carlene.
And this your boy, Jaime.
Peace.